Well, it all started once that phone started ringing.
I can hear you now.
Well, I don't know what the hell just happened, but hold on.
Yeah, I heard what you said, and that's really good advice to make believe there's a baby in the room.
Yeah, but that's when I knew I couldn't. That's not something that I could do. When you do this for 8 years and you're, fuck this and everybody. I mean, everybody. We said everything you could imagine. And again, I was just on an internet network. I wasn't on a. Well, you were in the number one market in America, in the world.
Yeah, but you get used to it, you know. Um, you develop work habits like anything else. It's not undoable. I mean, everybody, no one else is cursing, so it's not like like you're lured into it or
Of
you're
course.
joining in.
It's not you don't have to do it, but I understand that concept. Before I get
Yeah. Plus, the paycheck is a big incentive
yeah.
not to curse.
Now, were you working with Paul Cubby Bryant back then, or was he on Z100?
Cubby was on Z100. Elvis was on Z100. We were not the same company when I started.
Okay.
They were a different company, and then we eventually merged. I started with RuPaul, Michelle Visage, Hollywood Hamilton, Joe Causey, Broadway Bill Lee, Freddie Colon, and Diane Pryor was the lineup.
Wow, it's a hell of a lineup.
Yeah, tremendous amount of radio legends there. Just look what RuPaul and Michelle Visage went on to do. I mean, they're worldwide now.
Well, I guess
RuPaul.
yeah, we've seen him everywhere. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to hit your football background too, you stud muffin, you. But like, just take me through it. How again. We probably talked about this on my first show. I didn't go back to it and watch it. We had a great conversation, but I mean, when did you get started with everything like entertainment wise, like in the 80s or in the 90s?
Yeah, I got started in the 80s when I started to manage a comedy club. And I started to manage a comedy club, and then eventually I started to host the shows. And, at that time, I would go down to Z100 at night when Hollywood was working. He had a night shift there. He more or less taught me the ins and outs of radio.
Right.
And then he went out to Los Angeles at Kiss FM, and I continued to work with him out there. Not on a steady basis, and not getting paid. I never got paid from those stations. And then there was an audition for KTU in around 95, 96, and I got hired. And
go figure, man. You just got hired. Like you just went there, you auditioned
no,
for it.
You auditioned for a week. We auditioned for a week. We actually auditioned for the morning show.
Right.
And the morning show was given to RuPaul and Michelle, and they put us on at night. And after 2 years, the program director said, you guys are ready for mornings. And they gave us mornings.
And that was in what, like around 98, 99?
Yeah, around. I would say it's probably around 99.
So that's why it was so cool for me, that especially the first time I got you on, was what a bucket list. Because, I always wanted to get into the entertainment industry. And like I told you, we used to just sit there. I wasn't a big KTU guy. I was a K-Rock guy. So I listened to Kane. I listened to Booker. I listened to, with Covino was even on, Julie Slater, like those guys. I wasn't really a KTU. But all I know is that whenever I worked, like landscaping and stuff, it was just it was in the truck the whole time. So like I used to just sit there and listen to you.
Very popular.
Yeah.
It still is to a certain extent. There was a time where we were the number one station in the country.
Oh yeah. And at that time was hot for you guys.
Yeah, and for quite some time. It went on for a long time. Just book after book after book. And what happened was, when I started with KTU, we were one of 14 stations. And KT was so successful.
Wait, in the metro area? In the tri-state?
It's just successful in the country. We're the number one station in the country. So the station was generating so much income. And the guy who owned the station it enabled him to start merging. So when I started, there were 14 stations. When I ended, there were 1,200.
What?
And all the same company, and it went through different names. It went from, we merged. It was Evergreen, I think, when I started, and then we merged with J Core, and it became AM/FM. Then it became Clear Channel, and then it became
iHeart.
Yeah, just went on and on. So I went from competing with Elvis Duran, literally, him as one of my competitors, to be working right down the hall from him.
Wow.
So it was very interesting the way when they deregulated radio, all the mom and pop stations fell to the wayside. The individual owners, they just couldn't compete with the large conglomerates. So there wasn't a lot of competition, and there wasn't. That's one of the problems with radio today. There's not a
radio's dead.
Not a real ground area where people could breed new talent.
John, I had a great conversation with Covino, and I basically said, somebody said, like, why it was a great show, but he complained too much. I'm glad I complained because I wanted to really talk to Steve about this. Like, what's the end game now for someone like me? Like, you've been there, done that. So, like, for someone like me who, at the time when I first had you on my show, I wanted to be at Sirius. I wanted to be the next Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern, blah, blah, blah. There's just no end game anymore.
You could get to Sirius. And the way people get to Sirius now, the clearest path, from what I can see, is to build up a podcast and to build up a following.
Exactly. That's what Steve said.
And they take people on like that.
But he said it's more of a famous name now. Like, they don't want to take anybody unless it's like a name.
Well, I mean, you can build a name. You can build a name on some kind of niche podcast.
Right.
Which I don't know what that looks like for you. You develop some kind of niche, whether it's interviewing quasi-celebrities like you're doing right now, or or just, let's say, talking football, because I know you're a football nut.
Yeah.
So they have their sports channel, and then you just build up your podcast, you build up your numbers, you have good guests, you say stuff that is that requires thought and possibly controversial, and you can do it. It's going to take time, but
I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, you know what? And you do a good job. But you at this point, I mean, to build your numbers up, you have to hit on the right formula. Now, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like for you. I mean, I would tell you if I did. But some people get I don't want to use the word lucky or fortunate, like Joe Rogan and Adam Carolla, who were at the birth of these podcasts and were smart enough to and wise enough to start at the very beginning when this was all in its infancy.
Right. And
they're reaping tremendous benefits from that. I've been asked to do podcasts 100 times, over the course of the years, and I just never wanted to do it. But the hardest part about the podcast is, not starting it, getting it together. The hardest part is monetizing it.
It's just what the biggest pain in the ass that this is that this is not my generation. My generation was not followers. I mean, you get it. You know what I'm talking about. Like, now you look at someone in 2005, in 1995, you didn't look at someone and go, oh, he's got X amount of followers. He's not as cool as that person because he's got X amount of followers. That's today's day and age. My fucking nephew could do a radio show today, and I've been doing this 10 years with celebrities galore, and he can get more listeners than me because he knows more probably how to advertise it, get it into because these kids know more than we know now. And that's why you asked me if this was Zoom. Look, I would love to have you online with me.
Well, there's your podcast, Uncle Greg and...
Yeah, right?
What's your nephew's name?
Michael.
Uncle Greg and...
Mikey Show. I have the youngest one who gave me a plug. I just never put it on my intro. But no, it is frustrating in that aspect because like Westwood One was going to pick me up 2 years ago, but they didn't because I didn't have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I'm like, is this what this has come to? Like, you know, it is what it is.
That's what it came. That's what it comes to, and that's where you're at right now, and that's the hard reality of it all. And if you could figure that part out,
I know
you can get on because you have the chops. So
you paid me.
Talent. Well, look, I'm going to tell you right now. I've seen these social media people. Like in other words, I work with a guy now that's a social media sensation.
Right.
Okay, and he happens to be, and he's the exception rather than the rule. He happens to be a really good comic. So he's this driving force on social media. His name is Anthony Rodia.
He's your co-host.
On social, he puts out videos every day.
Yeah.
He's first generation Italian, and his videos are totally niched, and he has a really rabid, loyal following. And these people come out in droves to see him do comedy, and God bless him, he can do it.
Good for him.
And that's not always the case. That's not always the case. He's the exception. You know what I mean? You know. So I mean, for you, I mean, you have to flip the script. I mean, you have the talent, you have the chops, you have the experience. You put in your dues for all the stuff that goes around podcasting or radio. You just have to figure out the social media part. That being said, I mean, my advice to you is I would hire a social media consultant.
Or even, can you get an agent? I'm not trying to have a conversation with you again, like with Covino, about how to make it somewhere. But I mean, we're just kind of getting into this for a couple of minutes. Could you get an agent or somebody that can plug you somewhere?
You're not going to get an agent until you get a job. And that sounds jackass backwards. With it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Don't they get paid if they get you a job?
Yeah, they don't want to go looking for work. In other words, I got hired at KTU, and I got signed by Don Buchwald.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't work the other way around.
Look, when you came on my... Go ahead, you can go ahead.
What were you saying?
No, when you came on, when we did this back in 2013, you know, you paid me an unbelievable compliment. You did say the same thing, that I had the ability, the chops. And what's great is, like Steve told me the other night, he goes, you chose like the best of the best to look up to. He goes, you know who to look up to. Because I was saying to you, I was saying Kane and Booker, and, you know, all these guys that are so good. I'm not saying that, you know, Paul Cubby Bryan isn't great. He did plug me in on Z100 once. He called me out because I met him in a bar. So he is pretty awesome because of that. I was all over him. I was like fucking with him. And then he goes, at the end, I go...
say one of the nicest, not people in radio, human beings on the face of the earth.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's just a...
I want to get him. I wrote him, and he never wrote me.
Tremendous quality person all the way around.
I want him on because I wrote him years ago. He never wrote me back, but I'll try. But I saw him.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you can get in touch with him. He's on Light FM now.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
I saw him at Rogo's in Jesus 20 years ago now. It was like 2001, and I was like, Cubby, I'm like, if you don't plug me, I'm coming after you. I know where you live. And he was laughing. He goes, listen to it on Monday. I promise you. And I walked out, John, and I said, he ain't going to do that. You know how many people come up to him and say that on a nightly basis? Go be it. So be it. He fucking did it. I couldn't believe it. Everybody's calling me like, dude, you just got shouted out on Z100.
My advice to you is hire somebody who is a social media consultant. And figure out how to, and it'll be money well spent if you get the right person that you can work with that brings your social media numbers up, and can get you where you want to go. I mean, I would give that advice to anybody, you know, in your position. You have assets. You're just missing one thing.
Yeah, it's not, and I'm not complaining. It is what it is. It's just I've been at this for 10 years. I've interviewed anyone who's really anyone. I mean, not A-list actors like of today, but if you look at my list of interviews, my guests, I mean, there's like 50 people over these last 10 years that are somebody's, like big time.
Yeah, well,
so,
like I said, you know, It's up to you.
I'm not just doing a podcast in my underwear. You know, I went to school, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But during that show, you did give me other great advice. You said success is either right around the corner or it's, you know, a mile away, which is kind of obvious. But the way you put it into my head really resonated with me.
That's show business.
Yep.
You never know if you're an inch away or a mile away. You know what I mean? And you have to work every day like you're an inch away from fame and fortune. You know, the only people who make anything of themselves in show business are people who never give up.
I totally agree.
Because man, you get this business is a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection, and you get treated like crap.
Yeah.
And then once you make it, you're just sitting there, and somebody goes, "Can I get you some coffee?
Yep.
You know, would you like some water? And is there anything I can get you?" And you're just looking at these people like saying, "You treated me like."
Yes, and you even said that about family. Family will never believe in you until something happens. You make it, and all of a sudden they go, "We always knew. We always knew."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember my father seeing me do comedy once. And I said, "What did you think, Dad?" He goes, "You get paid for that." And I said, "Yeah, no, I get paid for it." He goes, "That's some racket."
Yeah, it's true. And
I'm like, all right.
And that's why, like, right now, I'm kind of I want to get out of the profession of sales. I want to see if I can get paid somehow doing this. Like, it's enough already. I'm not being impatient, but it's enough already. But I've had the guests, and, you know, again, it's a privilege to have you on. And another thing that you told me that I still think about is you said you got married around, what, 50, 52 years old?
No, I got married exactly. Wait, I'll tell you. I got married at 50.
And you were like, I'm like, oh, I'm not married. I think I was 37 during our show. And you were like, dude, just wait until it happens. The right person comes along. You said, don't worry if it's 50, if you're 60, if you're 45. So I'm not saying I got to get married, but I'm saying, according to Goomba Johnny, I still got faith and I still got a chance.
You've got a chance. You're a big, handsome Italian man. There's got to be a nice Italian woman out there waiting to meet a guy like you.
There's a lot of them, and a lot of them are crazy. Just letting you know. But
yeah, well,
you know how it is. You date a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, good luck with that. I mean, I was blessed. I got a gift from God. That's the only way for me. I was very happy.
Well, good.
You know, it's weird because anything in my life that was bad, I ran to it. And anything that was good, I ran away from. And that was my MO. My wife, even in my own dumbness, I knew my wife was right for me. And I thank God for that. Because I made some bad choices. You know, it wasn't. I don't know why it was like that. I mean, I guess it had to do with my upbringing, but I was very blessed.
You're a Ginzo from New York, you know, and you grew up a certain way, knowing certain people. So you did what you did. Don't be ashamed of it.
No, I'm not ashamed of anything. It's just that when you look back on your life, you'll get older, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
Like when you look back on your life now, even, how old are you now?
44.
Okay, you look back 44, and you look back at the 21-year-old you, and like I do now, and I was amazed at my lack of emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like how foolish I was, and how easily influenced I was by other people, and how I made such poor decisions based on not my intellect, you know, just my emotional ignorance. And I looked, that's why I say, you hear people say, if I only knew what I knew now,
God, yeah,
I would have had an easier life.
You know, I get mad.
I'm a poster child for that.
I get mad because, again, I'm going to hit real quick your football career. And I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine before a couple days ago because we were both laughing. It's actually my stepbrother. And we were both laughing because we had no direction in high school, and like I had all the ability in the world. I got recruited by Rutgers, 1A schools. One of the schools that was all over me was Kansas State. And you know the difference. There's scholarship, there's recruited, and then there's walk-on. I was actually recruited. They wanted me to come play for them, but I wasn't getting money. So who the fuck is Manhattan I'm not going there. The next year, they were number 1 in the country. So I never had any direction. I just was told, hey, listen, you better go to Trenton State because it's like going to Princeton. And if you get a free ride to go there, go. So I went there. My brother was playing there, which is now the College of New Jersey. But the same thing afterwards, John. What did I do? I just kind of got into sales. Yeah. I stepped in it. And
that's the way it works. You look back and you say, man,
I should have interned. I should have interned in radio is what I should have done. I just went into sales. I just wanted to move out so quickly. I wanted to make money. And I would tell my younger self, stay home with mom for another year and go intern at KTU or K-Rock or something.
Well, I've seen a guy come in. I'll tell you a story about a guy at KTU. I don't want to mention his name, but he came in for a job, and they turned him down. And he goes, "I'll answer the phones."
Yeah.
And they said that they're not paying anybody right now. We don't. I don't have another slot here.
It's amazing.
He goes, "I'll answer the phones for nothing."
Yep.
And then he eventually became producer of the morning show.
Yeah. John, if
I went on to program his own station. I mean, so those stories are out there.
If I had a dime for every time I talked to even a local station in New Jersey and said, "Look, I'll do it 3:00 in the morning on Sunday, a.m. You don't have to pay me. Just let me get my foot in the door." That's all I said. And they all said, "Oh, you got the talent, the voice, the this, but you don't have the experience." Well, let me start. That's all I'd ever hear. And then I would say, "Look, I do a show. I went to broadcasting school. You got to literally, that's all I heard. No, we won't not pay you to work for us." That's how hard it is. For free. It's amazing. And look, I want to cover before you go really quickly because I think this is impressive. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people know this. So John Saliano, GOUMBA Johnny, you didn't make it the team, but you made it to you were free agent, right? Pick.
Yeah, I went to a D3 college.
Yeah, you went to SUNY Brockport, which I played in college, and it was like 8 people in the stands, right? I love this story. And what'd you say to that guy?
I graduated, and I signed a contract with the Jets out of college.
Now, how much was that back then? If you don't mind me asking.
Sorry?
If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer the question, but if you sign a contract with the Jets in 89, you said?
79.
79. Wow, you old bastard.
Yeah, I'm 63.
Are you 63 now?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll be 61 in September.
Are you on speaker by any chance?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, because I'm coming back. It's feeding. I'm feedbacking with my voice.
Okay, hold on. All right, I'm on.
79, you go to the Jets. How much? Yeah. See, I should have told you this 10 minutes ago because I've been doing it ever since, but it's all right. So 10 minutes, 79, you go to the Jets, you sign a contract. What is it, a 1-year free agent contract?
2-year deal.
How much do they pay you for that?
I got paid the minimum for the first year, which I think, if I remember correctly, I have the contract somewhere. Actually, I have both my contracts. $28,000.
$28,000 for the year.
Yeah. And I got a signing bonus.
How much, like $12,000 or something?
I think it was $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah, that was rare. I mean, for a free agent.
If you get cut and you don't make the 52-man roster, do you lose that money or do they still pay it to you?
No, you get to keep the $1,000 and the money I made in training camp.
Oh, but they don't honor the remaining contract.
Only if you get hurt.
Oh, wow.
Don't need to get hurt.
So you go and
Injured reserve.
here's a cool story. You go and you're talking to what was his name? One of the line, because you were an offensive lineman.
I was an offensive lineman, but they it's so funny. They gave me such a high number when I was a Jet captain.
Yeah, you're one of those guys, like 99.
92.
Oh, jeez.
And the funny part was Mark Gastineau was a rookie with me. He was 99.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And Marty Lyons was a rookie too. He was the number 1 draft pick. He was 93. So I dressed in between them.
Damn.
Or right next to them, my locker. And, they were interviewed every day. And, they would break my balls and say, this is the guy you want to interview.
It's like The Rookie. Did you feel like The Rookie, that movie The Rookie?
No, you know what I mean? Not yes and no. I mean, I was a local guy. So, I drove to camp.
Okay.
Other people were coming from all around the country. I just drove out to Hofstra.
So then...
I never really got the feel of, like, I didn't fly there or,
yeah, you were like Wayne Corbett. You were just like a local guy sleeping on his friend's couch, and he was just going to he didn't think probably he was going to make it, even though,
Well, yeah, I didn't know what to expect because the brand of ball that we played in college was
nothing.
We weren't a football factory. You know what I mean?
So you walk out to one of your preseason or one of your camps, and there's 5,000 people there.
I walked out. I remember I was with Marty Lyons, and we walked out.
I love this.
I said, I can't believe how many people are here. So he goes, what do you mean?
I would have said the same thing.
There's like a couple of thousand people here. So he goes, yeah. So he goes, so I said, oh, that's a lot. He goes, that's a lot. So I said, yeah. I said, I only had like 200-300 people come to my games in college.
Yeah. You're not joking either, because I played them. It was bad.
Goes, how did you get here? I said, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what I always think about.
I said, this is the most people I ever played in front of me, and it's practice.
And it's practice. I always think that. Like, I've gotten upwards of 7,000, but most of my games are like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And like, I look at like the Giants camp, and I'm like, Jesus, there's more people at training camp in the summer, than we played in front of, and it's funny. But and then
the next year I signed with the Giants.
So did you get? Actually, I'm going to get personal here. If you got cut by the Jets before the 52-man roster?
I walked out of camp.
You walked out of camp? Who does that?
I did, because like I said, earlier in the interview, I talk about my emotional intelligence.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt I wasn't. I was doing really well in the beginning. I played in the rookie scrimmage against the Giants. I did well there.
That's so cool.
And then as the veterans started to come to camp, I said, hey, man, I'm not going to make the team. And I went in and I spoke to the coach and I said, I'm going to go home.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He goes, what are you going home for?
Oh,
I said, I don't think, I'm not going to make the team. So he goes, well, probably not. He goes, but you're doing way better than we thought you would.
Right.
And I said, that's not good enough for me. And
I'll have to agree with the emotional intelligence aspect, because I don't know a person in this world who would have done that, but you're pretty epic.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I'm not proud of this.
John, I'm starting to think you're a little whacked out of your freaking skull right now. Maron.
Yeah, and I drove home.
Now, I'm from New Jersey, or I'm from New York. I'm playing with the local team, the professional team, and I just say, I'm not going to make it. Unbelievable.
It was weird because I had, my expectations. Like you said, that you didn't get good advice or you weren't prepared, and I was right there.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared. Number one, the game that they switched positions on me, and that was okay. I didn't mind playing offense, but the speed of the game, going from Division III to professional was like night and day. I can't even describe it, and I
can only imagine.
I just did not know what to expect. I mean, these guys that play, D1, D2, and they come from these really, really well-funded, organized, professional college, football factories.
Yeah.
They're way better prepared.
I got it.
You know what I mean?
They're
way better.
So you got a call like a couple months, in the next season, and the Giants were like, "Hey, listen, we want to pick you up."
No, they invited me down to the stadium for a workout.
Is this right after you left the Jets, or this was the next year?
Next year. I went back to school. I continued training. I got a call for a workout. And I went down to the Meadowlands and worked out.
Now, your football career was over with Brockport, but you went back to school?
Yeah, I went back to school.
And then but you weren't playing football anymore. Your eligibility was up?
No, I was done. Okay. Well, it was only for the spring semester.
So you went to the Giants. This is so cool to me because I was born in 76 and I'm familiar with the Giants. They're like everything to me. But I really didn't become familiar with them until around 80, like I was 7 years old, like when Taylor came in. You were there when
he was the year after me.
Yeah. Oh, he was a year after you? Oh, he came in 80?
He came in 81. I was there in 80. Ray Perkins was the coach.
And Bruner.
Scott Belichick was our special teams coach.
Get the fuck out of here. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And did you have Scott Bruner?
I was there in 80.
Was it Scott Bruner?
Scott Bruner and Phil Simms.
Get the fuck. That's so cool. So you played with Scott Bruner, or you were like, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So, I was there.
Because Scott Bruner, to people like me, of my generation, we knew Sims. Anyone pre-Sims, prior to Sims, we don't really know. So Scott Bruner is always that guy that's a mystery to us, but he played right before Sims.
Well, he played with Sims.
Yeah, but that was meaning he played before Sims started.
Yeah, he might have been the year before. I'm not really sure. I don't know how much. I can't remember.
It's amazing.
The quarterbacks are so different.
Did you go? Now, what happened there? Did you how long did you play for? And then did they cut you?
I got hurt, and we had like an exhibition thing with the Patriots in the elbow, and I hurt my neck, and I was done.
So you played at the Patriots Stadium?
And no, we played in Connecticut at Yale. Back then, we would play in the Yale Bowl, and we were in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. So in camp, okay.
They used to have the Giants Jet games there.
It's amazing, man. I mean, that is so cool. And like I was telling you, and again, I'm tooting my horn here, but again, I was telling you that after I left college, I was first team every year, and nobody gave me the direction. Nobody said, look, you got it. You still got it. You can play. You this, blah, blah. So I went after agents myself. I tried out for arena teams. And then I tried to become a cop after like a 3-year, sales career. And I came back to one of the detectives from New Providence who was giving me a letter of recommendation. He says, dude, I didn't know the Jets were going to pick you up. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's real. It's Street and Smith. There was like 7 guys listed. I was one of them. And I was like, this is me. And my friend used to be I played with him in college, the director of pro personnel for the Jets under Rex Ryan. And I checked with him. I said, Prof, you saw him if you watched the HBO special. He was the bald guy who was always cutting people. But I was like, is this legit? He goes, 100% legit. And they said I should have been probably picked up as a free agent, but can you say the next Wayne Corbett? And that always kind of bothered me. I don't think I'm good enough, or I should have played pro, blah, blah, blah. But it always bothered me that I didn't even know about that. So it is. It's a direction thing. It's like if you knew more, again, like you said, if you knew then what you know now, it would have been a totally different story.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it is what it is. It's over with. It's just something that I tried, and
you got more recognition.
I'm proud of it. I mean, how many guys get to wear both uniforms?
No, and you got more recognition in your next career than you probably ever would have gotten as a lineman for the Jets or Giants.
I will tell you this. I'm glad I didn't make the team.
I can tell.
I mean, I would have been a real jerk. I don't think I could have. I don't think I could have handled any kind of good fortune at that age.
You would have been a
That
prick.
was,
You would have been a prick.
no, I'm not a prick. I was a wild kid, man. I was a wild kid. I mean, I couldn't listen to anybody. I couldn't listen to anybody.
I get it.
And I'm glad I outgrew that.
And then and we'll wrap it up, whenever you want. But again, this always happens. I say 30 minutes, it turns into an hour.
Yeah, I know. You
And
trick people.
No, I always tell, and you're the first person I didn't warn at 30 because I got that call and it fucked everything up.
Yeah.
But again, John, we went through your football, we went through your career. One last thing I wanted to bring up that I don't know if people knew this about you. Remember what you told me the other night? Can we get into that? That you were the manager or the...
Oh, yeah. No, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
I just don't want to talk about it because the interview's been so good.
No, I get it. So I didn't want to just come out and say it. It's not a bad thing. It's
no big deal. I did a lot of it.
It's part of your career. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things I'm very proud of, and some of the things I turn my back on, just like anybody else.
Yeah.
Look, I don't got to tell you at this point in your life. It's all ups and downs.
It's all ups and downs.
And the quality of your life is dependent on how you handle the downs. The ups are easy.
And I totally get that.
Yeah, and you just gotta, you gotta learn to walk through the fire, not around it.
And you did the Johnny P show too, right?
Yes, I proudly.
I did his show too.
I have survived the Johnny P show.
I did his show. I couldn't believe it. I was I used to watch that show, and I was like, shit. Now I'm a guest.
Yeah, he's funny as hell.
Johnny P.
He gets mad at me for saying it, but he's funny off stage than he is on stage.
I told him he sucked. I said, John, come on, you sucked in that beginning. We were standing in the crowd. You know how he comes out and he's like, he's like, the guy says to me, and that's your shtick? And we're like, and that's supposed to be funny? We're like, like I was busting his balls. He's very talented, but like the cool part about that show was the Killer Joes, the band. They're good.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to end it like this, and I want to just get this out of you. I always get intrigued by this. You're doing so many things. You've done radio. You're at the top of your game. You've done acting, and now you're in comedy, and you're still dabbling in acting. Of the three, this is a cliche question, but what's your favorite?
My favorite, without a doubt, if somebody asked me, on my deathbed, what are you? I would say I'm a comedian.
I was going to say comedy. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. I've never been associated with a group of people. I mean, football and, all the things I've done, all the different experiences I've had. There's no better group of people than I've been associated with than comedians.
And it's you alone on stage. It's different. It's like when I played football as opposed to being a wrestler. Wrestling was so much different because it was just you. And when you pin that kid,
and that's really not the allure for it. It's the brotherhood. It's hanging out. There's nothing better than hanging out with a bunch of comedians and kicking a bunch of jokes around. And
of course.
it's just they're great. The women. I mean, it's good. I hate to put it like this, but it's as colorblind as a profession.
Yes.
That you can get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's like everybody who goes up on stage is respected, and it's men, women, black, brown, white, yellow. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
That's the way it should be.
Who has the balls to get up there and to entertain and put themselves out there.
Amen.
You really form a brotherhood, and you have a great respect for each other.
And now I remember seeing you when we have that picture. You were with that one girl and Gene Tallarico. That was the show. If you remember that, we took a picture on stage.
Oh, Tallarico.
Yeah.
Oh, Gino.
Gino, Tillerico, and then there was a girl, I forgot her name, the brunette, very pretty girl. And then and you, but we did the picture on stage. But I can agree, and I don't think I even asked this, and I'm ending it. But tell people how did you get Goomba?
Oh, it was just something that my boss at the radio station asked me to come up with a nickname because he didn't like my real name.
Well, you did a good job because that was very catchy back then.
Well, it's just, radio people, they always have nicknames like that.
Oh yeah,
because they're easy to remember.
And last thing is where is I didn't mean to cut you off just then, but
that's all right.
Just give to anyone who wants to get into radio, whether it's a million listeners, one listener, whatever the fuck, who cares? I'm just saying, what's your best advice as accomplished as you are? I mean, I try not to kiss people's asses, but I get the best of the best on when it comes to when I choose. And just like Covino said, you look up to the right people. And this is bucket list stuff, man. This is you. This is Covino. This is Kane I've had on. This is I got Lindsay Klein on Thursday. She was a great one at DHA for almost 20 years. I just want Booker now. I want, what's his name? I want Will Pendarvis. And I want Cubby Bryant. I'll get them.
You get them.
What's your best advice?
Whether it doesn't matter whether it's radio or not. I mean, you have to have a plan, and you have to be able to execute that plan. But I will say this: I can only go by myself. The key to my radio career was whatever innate talent I had that God gave me. That I have no control over. But if I could say the one thing that helped me, get to where I could realize my dreams was networking.
Amen. It's all who you know.
It's all who you get to know too. You know what I mean? You got to put yourself out there, and you got to learn how to network, and you got to learn how to, get your foot in the door. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, but it's it's still
just like when you go to buy a car, and you click with that salesperson, and you know what, I'm gonna buy the car from that guy. You know what I mean? Just something about him I like, or whatever it may be. You just need to get to that point.
My problem is
networking is a huge part of it.
Everything I do and have done is geared toward satellite radio. Like even when I asked you for the letter of recommendation that you didn't
you get a social media consultant, get somebody to help build up your numbers.
I get it.
Get on satellite.
Cool.
I said it 10 times.
Can
I'm you? It doesn't cost you any money to interview somebody. And I would interview a half a dozen people, and even out of those interviews for the half a dozen people, you'll get several ideas how to move forward for nothing. Just call up people and say, I'm thinking about hiring you. I think I need a social media consultant. This is what I'm doing. Can you tell me what you would be able to do?
Where do you look them up? Where do you find them?
Just Google it.
Social
media. It's not like when I was growing up.
Yeah. So social media, when you were growing up, you had to find a magazine in the woods.
Social media was a message in a bottle.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey man, I'm not that. I'm 20 years younger than whatever. I was 90s, man. 80s. I grew up without the technology too, man. It didn't come out until around 2000. So
I know. I know. You know what? I'm just so glad there was no cameras during my childhood.
John, we'd all still be in the can, especially college.
I don't know if I'd be arrested, but
I would.
I'd be very embarrassed.
John, do you realize that we had to call our girlfriends? Remember that? And the father would answer the phone. Hi, Mr. Johnson. Is Kate there? Remember that? These fucking kids have no idea. They can text their girlfriend in 6th grade at 2:00 in the morning. I
just remember the pager.
911.
Walking around like a doctor with the pager.
911.
Pull over and find the phone book.
You were that guy with the pager on your belt. We used to go out to the bars and we'd have the pager on the belt. The 90s. My God. But All right, man. Go do your.
I believe it or not, I gotta go.
Go. It's been an hour. Are you gonna send me that?
To you soon?
Are you gonna send me that autograph picture again, or what?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
It's been a week and a half. I know you already did, but I told you it's all ripped up.
I will send you another one.
Please do. Johnny, always a privilege. Thank you.
Stop calling here.
I won't call you to fuck you to get the. I take advantage of it when I talk to you before the show. Stop calling here.
But stay in touch.
Yes.
And, good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thanks so much. Again, it's a pleasure too. Thanks. Have a great night, my man.
You got it. Bye.
All right. Bye, John. Wow. There you have it, folks. Goomba Johnny live on the Carlucci show. Gave me an hour. Supposed to be a half hour. But, we talked about a lot of things. Again, another bucket list scratched off. Even though I've had him on before, it's always good to, talk again and see how his career is going now. He's an amazing comedian, man. I didn't get into, his actual craft, but I saw him, and he was pretty funny, man. If you ever get a chance, check out Goomba Johnny. Johnny Cialiano, all his social media and everything. But want to thank everybody, all my guests. It's a different Tuesday night show. Again, I have it 8 o'clock on Thursday. Lindsay Klein, she's a former, she just left about a year or two ago because she had kids, but she was a former amazing DJ at 105.5 WDHA for probably about 17, 18 years. I mean, she's awesome. And again, who do I have coming up? I got Peter Gaudio. I got a beautiful actress, Ali Mang, and I just got to work on it. Just keep going, just like Johnny says. But thanks for tuning into the Carlucci Show. Check it out, YouTube. Check out Facebook, Greg Carlucci, The Carlucci Show. Check out thecarluccishow.com. And I'm on SoundCloud. And just to let you know, I've been trying to get on Apple to get my shows up there, and I can't get in for some reason, even though I've called them 1,000 times and I have an Apple ID. It's just not letting me in. So I'll figure that out. And then soon I'll also have probably a little Zoom action. I'm not really for it. I keep hearing I'm supposed to have a guy on the next to me, but I'm not really into that. But I'm also not into just filming myself for an hour. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do the whole maybe corner of the screen picture thing with the person, or at least just a picture of them. But again, it was another amazing show. It's a real accomplishment to be able to interview these people and talk to some of your idols that you grew up with. And Goomba Johnny was definitely one of my idols that I grew up with. And again, I want to thank everybody: Joey Chaffee, Kim D, Randy Sutton, the voice of American law enforcement, AJ Benza, Steve Cavino, Lana Asanin. But we're going to do another show, me and Lana. The recording got a little messed up. And who else? Am I missing anybody? I don't know. Goomba Johnny. I don't know. I'm probably missing one person. But I'll talk to you guys. I'll see you on Thursday with Lindsay Klein. See you.